Yo, what's going on, snipers, and welcome back to our Anchorage Ice Tigers Draft to Glory MyNBA here in NBA 2K26. So last episode, if you did not catch it, we had the off season, and our team is set up for another season, which is exciting. Obviously led by the likes of Dana Westbrook, which I'm hoping he could have a full season where he's not injured as well, because last year he did miss some time due to his injury, but you could see he did have a really good rookie season, so I'm expecting him to hopefully still pick up around 18 to 20 points. Obviously the offense should be spread a little bit more throughout our lineup though, because we did draft also Everett Carroll in last episode as well, and Everett Carroll looks like he could be a pretty solid player for us, so very excited to see what he could do. Aldridge is still not really a huge offensive player, so I don't really expect him to do too much. And then Jennings actually had a pretty good summer league, so I'm not really sure what to expect from him in his rookie season. But we're starting to build up a pretty solid rotation of players, and I'm hoping obviously that we can continue to do that in the upcoming draft class. There is a player we're definitely looking into, which is the potential first overall pick. I'm not too sure how good he actually will be, but obviously this guy, Chip Parker, is something we definitely really want just because he is a center and we do need a big guy. So I'm hoping that we have a really bad season. I do expect this team maybe to win a couple games a season, but maybe not. And then I'm hoping that, like I said, we still have a good chance to obviously get that first overall pick. Obviously, we'll have the same odds as another team, but I'm hoping that we somehow get the coin flip. And yeah, Chip Parker could join this team. That'd be amazing just because he's actually exactly what we need. And he's also relatively young, which is a good thing too. So yeah, excited to see what this team could do this season. And I'm excited just to see how the guys develop on our team. But with that said, let's get in your guys' comments, see what you guys have to say about last episode, and then we'll get into simulating the season and scouting in the upcoming draft class. So the first two comments are from Dylan Burrows. The first one says, I think you should move Aldridge at shooting guard and Jennings at small forward, just so they all get the most time. We also need a center at this draft, whether it be in the first or second round. Chip might be fire if he's good as he may be. And then he also says, he's only 18, so even if his overall is the best, he may still be the pick. And yeah, I do think Chip Parker will definitely be the guy if we do get a chance to draft him. Otherwise, we will have to get ourselves a center regardless, just because we gotta start to fill out those spots that we still need to fill out a bit. But he was making a suggestion that basically if we go to our coaching game plan, right now, as you can see, Jennings was sent to a 6-man spot. However, Aldridge can play shooting guard. He's not really the best offensive player, so it's kind of a weird spot to put him on shooting guard when he's not going to score a lot. But we are going to be flipping this around just because Harkless isn't a guy we drafted, and that way we could get Jennings into the lineup. So basically, we have a full lineup of almost players that we've drafted and sent for center, and then eventually at some point we will readjust that accordingly once we get a center in, and maybe we could find maybe a better shooting guard in the upcoming draft class as well, just because Aldridge, I think, is probably more of a future like depth option. He's going to be more of a defensive player for us, so I don't think he's really going to be a starter on this team, but we will obviously have him as a starter in this season just because he's one of our only prospects that we've drafted at this point. And it would be nice just to give Jennings some starting time just based on, like I said, how he played in the summer league. I think he's decent. If we look at his attributes here, let's actually go to grades. Actually, not grades. Let's go attributes here. You can see, though, that like he has an okay close shot, so he should be able to get points that way. Driving layup is good. 3-point shots at 75, so that's really not the worst in the world, so he should be able to maybe drain a couple threes. But yeah, he's definitely not the best player right now, but I think he could develop into becoming maybe a useful bench player or something like that, or maybe a starter that's just a little bit lower end. But yeah, excited to see what he does in his first full season. The next comment is from Nick Bacher, Barons OCU, who says, Hall of Fame ceiling just means their max potential is 90 plus, which means Carroll has Hall of Fame upside. He is starting with an above average starter as his base potentials, but if the game rolls the dice in your favor, he will end up being a beast. It's all luck. That's one thing that I hate about the newer 2K games. So yeah, even though he has good potential, there's a chance that he actually won't be that type of player, but obviously maybe he is going to be that type of player. But we'll see how he ends up developing. Like, I guess it just depends on how good the team's doing, how good he's doing in terms of actual production and all that. So, yeah, excited to see what Carroll could do in his first season as well. Maybe he's a Rookie of the Year finalist if he actually plays good. He didn't really have the best summer league, though, so I'm not really too sure if he's going to have good stats during the actual regular season or not. But we'll see, I guess, by the time it comes to the Rookie of the Year award. In the last and final comments from The Real Divinity, who says the two new guys are going to be beasts, especially if you train their potential on them in the offseason. I think that's how anyways. Beside that, I think the team will hit 4 wins this upcoming season. Go Ice Tigers. And I don't know if you could actually train specific things anymore. I know that in the old 2K games that I used to play, basically instead of like you'd see growth randomly in the offseason, I think you used to be able to spend training points towards certain things like rebounding and all that. I don't think that's a thing anymore based on how the first few seasons of this has gone, but maybe you could still adjust those. But I know for a fact that I used to be able to like try and get players to get their potential better, and sometimes they would, sometimes they wouldn't, but I don't think that's a thing anymore, it seems like. So anyways, with that said, I think we're ready to get into the season. I'm excited to see what those young guys could do. I'm also, like I said, hoping for Westbrook to have a healthy season this year, because obviously last year, what was his injury again? Because I do not remember. I think it was like a broken arm, right? Where do we go for injury history again? Was it? I know there was a spot for injury history. Oh yeah, injury report. No, that's for the season. Just want to see if I could find a little bit on the Westbrook. Oh yeah, here, training. So yeah, if we go to injury history, I think I was showing this in the last episode. Anyways, oh, it was a sprained the left foot, apparently. That's interesting. So yeah, actually I thought he had a different injury last year, but maybe not. Maybe not. But yeah, so we got to watch out for some injury-related stuff with some players on our team. Aldridge had a broken nose in the past as well, so I don't think the Aldridge broken nose one's a big issue. I'm just more worried about Westbrook, of course, just because he was such a high-up pick. But if he gets injured again this season, he might be one of those type of players that just a little bit more injury-prone, which would not bode well for us. So I'm really hoping, like I said, for a full season from him, and also hopefully he continues to play like he did last year, because last year he was actually really, really good. Probably could have been a finals for the Rookie of the Year award. So with that said, let's go to, I guess, November the 1st. Just see how we start off. We actually go simulate an entire regular season at this point, because we aren't going to win a lot of games anyways. But it'll be interesting to see if the team can win any games, but I really doubt that we're going to find a way to win much. We do win 2 in a row there, obviously, which is kind of crazy. There's 3 in actually this season, or 4 actually. I missed the friggin' one against Boston. How did we beat Boston? Damn. All right. So off to a good start to season. We already have those 4 wins that Divinity was mentioning. Let's start doing our scouting. So I guess we will just sort this by SN rank, and then we'll just go through the list. Actually, let's sort by overall. Yeah, I'll do it like that. So that way we can get a decent chunk of the early guys potentially scouted out here. And maybe some that are supposed to go second round. Like Andre Richards could end up being a decent pick for us if we can't get the other center maybe. So let's set those guys as our scouting things, and let's continue to simulate. These sims go by so quick. Like, I wish these episodes were a little bit longer, just because the sim engine works so much faster than NHL at some stages. So none of these guys have been scouted fully yet. I'm excited to see what they're thinking for Chip Parker right now. There's another Chip as well in this draft class, Chip Jameson, but he is not a center, so he's a shooting guard though. So we, if he was to go second round, we could draft 2 Chips, which would be kind of funny. Alright, so let's do that. Let's continue to simulate. We have 4 wins on the season. Can we get more than 4 wins? Divinity said 4 wins, and we're already at that. So I feel like we should be able to maybe get a little bit higher than this. Maybe get somewhere closer to 8 wins. But also, we're going to have these long losing streaks occasionally, too. Holy moly. Well, if this is accurate, Chip Parker is an absolute animal. 85 overall at 18. 85 overall. That's absolutely insane. I really hope he's that good, because if he is, then we're obviously going to have to put a lot of work into him and try and get him. If we do lose the draft lottery, it's going to absolutely suck, because I want at least a chance to draft that guy just to see how good he actually is. But if he ends up on another team, that would really, really suck. But he looks fantastic right now. So I'm not too sure if that's 100% accurate, but he could still be like an 83, and that'd be really good. So, and he's only 18, which means the sky's the limit potentially for that guy. I don't know if he's going to have a Hall of Fame ceiling or what. We do beat the Rockets for our 5th win, so that's a nice little victory there. So our team is actually winning some games this year. Let's continue to scout out some more players. We want to know about as much players as possible, just so that way, if it comes to it, we kind of know who we might want to pick in like the second round even. Because the second round's usually the biggest crapshoot, so we'll see what we end up getting next episode, of course. But hopefully we have good draft lottery odds this year. Because last year, Charlotte had first and we had second. I feel like we made a good selection with Everett Carroll, but obviously, who knows what else we could have gotten in that draft. Because I didn't really look through it after the fact. But yeah, Chip Parker might be the best by far. It looks like some decent starting overalls for some of these guys, but obviously, like I said, I think they're not all guaranteed to be actually that good. So let's continue to add people to scout. There you go, that's good. At least these seasons kind of simulate a little bit faster, so I don't have to like necessarily sit here for like 30 plus minutes. But like I said, I would prefer these episodes maybe being a little bit longer just because it's kind of fun just going through these modes. Like I could go through multiple seasons at a time if I really wanted, but I'm not going to do that because I'd prefer you guys' input on drafts and all that. There's a win over Toronto, 192. All right. So we do got our 6th win of the year. So our team is definitely doing better than last year. I can't remember how many wins we had last year. I don't think we had really any, did we? We had maybe one against Brooklyn? Or was that the first year? I honestly don't even remember. No, the first year we had all those crazy wins. So yeah, last year we only had one win and it was against Brooklyn. So this team is already doing better than last year. Probably because we have young guys on the team. I should have actually stopped before the All-Star break, but it is what it is. We did beat the Jazz as well. So that's win number 7. Let's change target players again. Just so we can make sure that we're getting a bunch of new people scouted too. But yeah, so far we have a lot of guys scouted, which is a nice thing to have. And hopefully, like I said, they're accurate. I really hope we get Chip Parker, man. If we don't get him, I'm going to be disappointed. But hopefully there's more good draft classes ahead of this year as well. All right. We're getting closer to the end of the season. 7 wins on the year. Can we get closer to 10 potentially? That's what I want to know. Because if we could get 10 wins on the season, I'll be pretty happy with that, considering there's still a lot of work to go. But we don't have the best bench players, obviously, so that's probably where we lose a lot of our games. So eventually, at some point, maybe we'll have a good bench as well. But soon we're going to have to also start paying our younger guys. Like, I think we might actually have to pay some people, potentially. Let me stop the sim for a second. Where's the signing deadline? The signing deadline's right around here, I think, actually. So let me actually go to contracts. Well, actually, where do I go for this stuff? To re-sign my players potentially, or do I have to wait till the end of the season? I feel like it was in the middle of the season that I always did this before, but maybe not. Trying to double check on this. General manager, no, I don't think you can. I don't know where it is, but I don't think we're going to lose anybody regardless just because they're all young. So let's continue to simulate through this rest of the season. We don't have a lot left to go, so let's go simulate through date, and let's see if we continue to win some games here. Potentially, we probably aren't going to hit 10 wins anymore. Well, there's number 8 as we beat Sacramento. Got a couple more games left. Can we find a way to get 2 wins in this bunch? And maybe get 10 wins? If we get only 8, that's fine still too. But it would be kind of neat to see us hit double-digit wins already, considering we still have a lot of work to go. Like, obviously, our system proficiency right now is not very good either. So eventually, at some stage, we're going to have to try and choose a certain system that works best with our roster as well. So let's see. I think this is all we could get scouted. I don't know if we're going to be able to scout anymore because the season's almost done, but I am excited to take a look at stats, but I'm also nervous about potential player injuries and stuff like that. Like, hopefully we didn't suffer any big injuries. But in terms of the NBA Cup MVP, it's Victor Wembanyama, so I guess the Spurs end up winning. I don't know who they beat, but shout out to the Spurs. Toronto we lose to, same with the Pistons, same with OKC. Dallas we beat. And then we lose to the Knicks, which means we finished just under 10 wins, which is pretty damn solid. All right, so for the awards this season, Victor Wembanyama has won the MVP, averaging 26 points per game, 12.3 rebounds per game, and 4.4 assists. So shout out to Wemby. Everett Carroll did win Rookie of the Year. Okay, that's actually really nice to see. So that's a first major plus to our team. So last year, I think we came close to having a Rookie of the Year candidate with Westbrook, but Everett Carroll the second overall selection, will win Rookie of the Year. 15.5 points per game, 4.3 rebounds per game, 3.3 assists, 1.2 steals, and 1.3 blocks. His field goal percentage was just over 48%. Free throw percentage, not the greatest, 79.2. But from three-point percentage, he was shooting over 32%. So we will definitely take that from Carroll. Very happy with those results. And obviously, I can't wait to take a look at the rest of the players on the team as well. Dejounte Murray is the sixth man of the year, averaging 18 points per game. Pretty damn good there for the Pelicans. Wemby also wins Defensive Player of the Year, not a surprise with all those rebounds, and averaging 3 blocks per game. Aside from that, Clay Dunleavy, who is also actually a pretty high up pick, if I'm not mistaken, the same year that Westbrook went, he averaged 19.9 points per game this season, so he gets the most improved player for the Utah Jazz. And aside from that, Anthony Edwards, or Ant-Man, the clutch player of the year. Jason Kidd wins the coach of the year for the Dallas Mavericks. And in the Spurs executive, Aaron Phillips will win the executive of the year. And that's pretty much it. So that is very promising, though. I'm really happy, though, with Everett Carroll. Very happy. Like I said, I wasn't too sure what his rookie season was going to be like, just based on how he was in Summer League. But that's definitely a promising thing for us to see for his rookie year. As let's take a look at those stats a little bit better here. Looks like in this season, he actually dropped 37 points in a game, which was his best game of the season. So shout out to him there. And I don't know who it was against, but still, that's a really solid game for a rookie, dropping 37. If we go through this, we could actually figure out who it was against. It looks like it was against... It probably wasn't a win, right? Or maybe it was in a loss. Damn, it was all the way back earlier in the season, huh? So I do not see it yet. A lot of 20-point games, it looks like, for him, though, which is nice as well. And it was a win that we had over the Clippers. All right. So, yeah, it looks like a pretty good season for Carroll. A lot of 20-point games, some 15-point games. Love to see it. Love to see it. Looks like he chucks up a good amount of shots as well. And then his body health looks like everything's fine for now. I don't think he had any injuries this season. So that's also good. And then there's his hot zones his hot zones and his shot chart for the season. So yeah, from beyond the arc, he was not the craziest. He was pretty good from, looks like, the left side and the right side, but at the point top part, not the best. And then he was obviously really good in front of the net, or whatever you want to call it, the basket, I guess. So yeah, really good season from Everett Carroll, and that's why he was drafted as high as he was. So there is all that. Let's advance and let's take a look at the All-NBA stuff as well while we're at it. So in terms of All-NBA first team, Wemby, Jokic, Cade Cunningham, Luka Doncic, and Giannis. Giannis is in Golden State now. God damn, I didn't even realize that. So that's where Giannis ended up, is Golden State. And that's after Curry has retired, I think, right? Second team All-Star, Rodney Bowen was an All-NBA second team. Damn, this guy was a high up pick in the first year. And he's looking pretty damn good. Tyrese Halliburton also up there. Josh Giddey, Ja Morant, and Ant-Man as well. So Rodney Bowen's like the first generated player we've seen as an All-NBA player, I think. So yeah, this guy was drafted second overall in the first year. So very, very solid player. I didn't even realize he was from Indiana as well, like from the college or university. And then now he was actually a Pacer, so that's kind of neat. All-NBA third team, Paulo's up there. Same with Cooper Flagg, who's apparently currently injured with a sprained right ankle. Or severe right ankle sprain, I should say. Şengün is up there as well. Same with Tatum and Ahmed Thompson. Defensive first team, we have Wemby, Dyson Daniels, Ahmed Thompson, Oscar Thompson, and Evan Mobley. Defensive second team, Jalen Williams, Walker Kessler, Cooper again, Giannis again, and Jokic. All-rookie first team, obviously, there's Everett Carroll. And looks like Maurice Jennings might have actually had a pretty good season, too, because he does get all-rookie first team as well. So we'll take a look at his stats. There is Stanley Ball, who was the first overall pick before we took Carroll. His rookie season was pretty good, too, 12.1 points per game, but he did get outplayed by our boy. So I will definitely take that. And then Maurice Jennings, getting into the all-rookie first team, must have had a good season. 10.7 points per game, I'll take that. That's not too bad. It's definitely better than some other people on the team. And then 5.5 rebounds per game as well is pretty solid. So looks like he did a decent job. That's definitely stuff to take away. Like his field goal percentage was over 40% too. So I like that. 3-point percentage, not the best. Free throws, not the best. But looks like at least he was decent in terms of getting baskets. So yeah, good season for Maurice Jennings as well, especially considering he was a second-round pick, so can't ask much more out of that. R.J. Lewis Jr., when was this guy drafted? He was undrafted. I don't know if he's a real dude or if he was generated, but regardless, he was an undrafted player. He's 25 years old. And then you also have Jacob Green on the Bulls, who was the 8th overall pick last year, 10 points per game, so decent steal there for Chicago. All rookie second team, you have Vladimir Tomasevich, who is a guy that was drafted late first round last year, 25th overall. He was on Utah and New York this season, so Utah already traded him away. OJ Wood, who was the guy I was looking at potentially for 14th overall pick, only 4.4 points per game this season. You also do have Richie Solomon on the second team, which is funny to see because that means obviously we might have made the right decision with who we took. He was actually pretty good. He was definitely close to being maybe an all rookie first team, but he just missed out. And it's kind of funny because he had less points per game than obviously our rookie that we drafted in the second round. But the only thing is that obviously the playing time is going to be a lot different with somebody like Solomon. So Solomon's going to probably come off the bench. Meanwhile, the other guy was starting for us. Marvin Drew with the Denver Nuggets, former 4th overall selection this year as well. 10 points per game. So yeah, him and Solomon were both solid as well. And then Adam Thornton, 10.2 points per game. He was the 7th overall selection. All right. And that is the all-NBA team stuff. So that's interesting. I like that our rookies were on the first team. That's good to see. So if we go now to our player stats, now I should be able to take a look at obviously Westbrook and stuff like that because we didn't take a look at that yet. So Dana Westbrook this season was pretty damn good. He was pretty damn good. He averaged more points per game than last year, 21.8. So a little bit of an increase. Got more rebounds per game offensively, but in total, just a little bit less. More assists per game. Stealing per game is right around the same with blocks per game. His field goal percentage has improved. His 3-point percentage has improved, and his free throws have also improved. Got a little bit more minutes per game this season, but looks like in general, a great season for Dana Westbrook. Hopefully he continues to play good. And then lastly, our other guy that we drafted in year one, Jay Aldridge. He dropped off a little bit points per game, but not by much, so it's not a huge issue. But looks like for the most part, he played a little bit worse, got more assists per game, a little bit more stealing. His field goal percentage, though, drastically improved, so that's definitely a positive to take away. Same with his 3-point percentage, improved a lot. So it looks like he became a little bit better, but he's still not the best player in the world for sure. He's definitely more of a defensive option, so there's our player stats that we care about, so not too bad on that front. Also did want to go to the standings as well, team stats. Kind of curious on how bad of a team we were. So the Spurs were the best team in the league, 63-19, goddamn. So shout out to them. Obviously we're all the way at the bottom. Let's take a look at this. 9-73, we finished 94 points per game, so not the best offense still. And 115 points allowed per game. Looks like our defensive play actually wasn't that bad. But obviously in terms of scoring baskets, we need to do a lot better than that. Because if we actually sort for points allowed per game, the best defensive team technically was the Warriors. We were technically mid-table. Maybe even a little bit better than mid-table on defense. It's just obviously we're the worst offense in the league, right? Yeah, by far. So I'll definitely take that. Aside from that, field goal percentage of 419 is definitely quite low. 3-point percentage of 308, definitely quite low. Free throw percentage is 693, pretty damn low. Everything here is pretty damn low. But offensive rebounds per game is kind of close to some other teams, so that's not bad. Defensive rebounds per game, better than some teams, but not the greatest. All right. just in case you guys wanted to take a look at all these like random in-depth stats so you guys could kind of see if we're doing good in any area that I'm not listing out. But yeah, I'm really excited to see how this team progresses as we get more players onto the roster. So there is that. I guess we'll find out now who ends up winning the championship this year. First is the play-in tournament, so let's just actually go all the way to simulate playoffs and see who ends up winning the NBA championship this year. And the answer to that, it will be Utah in the Western Conference, which is kind of weird, as Keontae George is the Western Conference MVP. And in the East, it's going to be Cade Cunningham. So it'll be a Detroit and Utah finals, which is not really what I was expecting. But that's still an interesting one. Utah actually did take out the Spurs too, so that's a pretty damn huge victory for the Jazz. So that means that Dunleavy guy that was drafted in year 1 or year 2, whatever it was, I think it was year 1, he's already going to a finals. Interesting. Okay. Well, let's find out who ends up winning the NBA championships. I don't know what the last time the Utah Jazz or the Detroit Pistons won, but let's see who ends up winning the championships this year. Let's simulate through a game again. Actually, I should just go simulate round. There you go. And it will be the Detroit Pistons who end up taking home the NBA championship this year, which means probably Cade is the MVP. Yes, he is. 39.5 points per game. God damn. Cade Cunningham is a really good player. He's kind of underrated in a way, and he just powered that team probably to the finals. So, shout out to him. How good was his regular season? 36.3 points per game. Damn. Yeah, he is very, very good. Very, very good. So, actually, I shouldn't say he's underrated because he was a first overall pick, but he's just starting to hit his prime, which is good. So, shout out to the Pistons for securing the NBA title this season. All right, so now that that is all done, obviously we get into the important stuff for our team, which is the off-season stuff. So, let's get all the way up to the draft lottery to find out where we're drafting. I guess we could actually go to a little bit before the draft too. But I think we should probably end around the draft lottery. But maybe we'll go up a little bit further so we actually have it all the way up to here. So we could kind of get the combine and kind of understand better who we should potentially draft this year, which I think we already kind of know. But obviously we don't know which pick we have this year. So with that said, let's see the retirements for 2028. Kevin Durant has retired with the Clippers, which is kind of strange. James Harden retires with the Bulls, Vucevic with the Lakers, Jimmy Butler still in the Warriors, Lillard has retired with the Trailblazers, and CJ McCollum has retired with the Cavs. A lot of other solid players too, but those are obviously the big names. So, wow, Marvin Bagley? Damn, man, Marvin Bagley's already retired. 29 years old. I remember when he had so much hype around him, like he was literally the second overall pick in 2018, but he already retires in this universe before he even hits 30, so that's interesting. All right, let's advance, and let's see the staff retirements. So staff retirements, looks like OKC has lost their assistant head coach, Chip Engelland. Jordan Ott has retired as the head coach of the Suns, Charles Lee as the head coach of the Kings, and this guy named Liam Rose as a CFO for I'm not too sure who. Maybe he was a free agent. All right, Hall of Fame inductees. I think we kind of already know who's going to be there. Yep, Durant, Harden, and Lillard all making the Hall of Fame. Not really a surprise on that. For jersey retirements, Lillard has his number 0 retired by the Trailblazers. Harden has number 13 retired by the Houston Rockets. And Durant has his number 35 retired by OKC. Kind of surprised he didn't have anything retired by Golden State or anything, but some really good stuff there. All right, league meetings. Do we need to disapprove of anything? No, they're all rejected. But if we wanted to look a little bit more in depth into this, the first rule change that was actually even brought up was change the number of fouls required before a player fouls out to 1. So 1 foul, you're done. That would be absolutely insane. Obviously, that gets rejected. Opposing teams will enter the bonus after 3 team fouls have been committed in a single quarter. That got rejected as well. Opposing teams will enter the bonus after 4 team fouls have been committed in an overtime period. That one was a little bit closer. This one was close to being actually approved, but it says rejected. Players will not be eligible for the entry draft until at least 4 years removed from high school, or international players 22 years or older. So 4 years removed from high school, which means everybody would be a minimum age of 22 in the draft class, if I'm not mistaken, which is kind of dumb. I would never approve that. And then all defensive teams will have positions, 2 guards, 2 forwards, and 1 center. That's interesting. So that way you can't get like multiple centers in it. They all got rejected, but those are interesting. That first one is really ridiculous though, because if you literally just got 1 foul, you're out of the game. Like, that would be absolutely insane. Anyways, let's advance past those rule changes. And now we get to the big stuff, the draft lottery. And we know that this year's draft is an important one for the franchise. Obviously, we have secured a chance at that top pick, but the Kings and the Wizards have the same odds as us. The Wizards actually got their pick from Brooklyn, which is interesting. So I don't know if it becomes Brooklyn's pick still, if it's a top 3 selection. But there's some teams with some really good odds. But obviously, I'm really hoping we get the first overall pick because we kind of need that center. If we don't get that center, we'll have to get 1 second round. But I really, really want Chip on our team if we can. So with that said, let's get to this draft lottery and find out these results. It's definitely going to be a little stressful, but we're here for it. I like the dramaticness of these draft lotteries, but it's also quite scary. Hopefully everything stays true to form up until our pick as well. So, oh my goodness. It already said the 76ers moved into the top 4. God damn, I didn't even realize that. That's actually kind of insane. Which means somebody has moved back. Apparently, John Morant's a pending free agent this year, which is kind of also crazy. Spurs, will they stay at number 12? Yes, they will. Okay. But I did not expect... Actually, no, it said the 76ers... I thought it said the 76ers jumped into the top 4, but they have 14, so maybe not. Maybe I misread something. So maybe everything's still staying true to form so far. Because if the 76ers moved up, they'd have like barely any of the chance to move up. Bucks are going to stay at 11. All right, number 10. We get into the top 10 now. The Bulls with 3.3% will stay at 10. That's good. I will definitely take that. Last year they selected Jacob Green 8th overall, which we did see his stats from the rookie candidates this season. Charlotte Hornets will move up, apparently, because OKC has got number 9, which means Charlotte has moved into the top 4. God damn. Charlotte's moved into the top 4. That's actually kind of insane. They did have the first overall pick last year, but they'll only move up 1 spot, or is this their other pick? No. The Nets move into the top 4 as well, which means we might be moving back in this draft, which is not a good sign. Portland will stay at number 7. But a couple teams have moved up, which means a couple teams might move back. 6th overall. What do we got next? Washington will move up as well, I think. Maybe. Not too sure. Let's see. Unless that pick was originally Washington's, which it doesn't look like it. I don't even know if they moved up. Oh, yeah, we fell back a lot. Please move up. Oh, my goodness. Well, a lot of teams moved up, and we fell back from first best odds to 5th. That's actually terrible. Which means Washington, who had a 14% chance, will also have 4th overall, which means the teams that have the top 3 selections had bad odds, yet they will get a top 3 selection this year. So we got absolutely shafted in this one. But 5th overall, hopefully we get somebody good, but Chip Parker was the guy I wanted. Brooklyn with a 9% chance will move up further, which means OKC gets the 3rd overall pick, which of course they totally need a 3rd overall pick in this draft. But who is going to get the 1st overall selection this year and who's going to get number 2? It's between the Nets and the Hornets. The Hornets had the 1st overall pick last year. This year they will have the 1st overall pick again, which means the Charlotte Hornets will be getting Chip Parker to play alongside the guy they drafted last year. And the Nets moved up all the way to number 2. Which means with what percentage odds? Yeah, with 6% chance, the Charlotte Hornets have the 1st overall pick again. And we fell back to 5th. Well, that's not what I wanted to see, especially in a draft of glory. God damn. So there is the top 3 and the draft lottery results. We drafting at number 5, but a couple teams moved up a lot. So if we are lucky, though, we might end up potentially getting luck where some people fall to us. But I'm not too sure what we look at number 5. Like, I don't think there's any other center supposed to go 1st round, really. But we'll definitely take a look at it. So let's advance, and then we'll find out some more stuff about this draft class. But Definitely sucks not to have the first overall selection. So let's get this other stuff dealt with. So staff signings, we already have everybody signed into next year, it looks like. So we don't need to worry about bringing in any new staff members. Let's get to the draft combine so we can see what these guys are looking like here. So in terms of the fastest player based on sprint, a 302 from Dusty Morrison. In terms of lane agility, it's Brian Hickson. Vertical, it will be Anthony Lowry. Bench, it's Carl Bishop. Standing 15-foot jump shot is Carson McGee. Moving 15-foot jump shot, Bryce Coles, with a bunch of other dudes as well. Standing college three-pointer, Carson McGee. Looks like he could be a good shooter based on that. He's not a shooting guard. If he was a shooting guard, I'd be like, hey, he might be what we need to look into. Moving college three-pointer, Bryce Coles. Standing NBA three-pointer, Brian Hickson. And moving is Greg D. Taylor. All right. Let's advance on that. And pre-draft workout. So, yeah, Chip Parker's now 19 years old, but likely he is going to end up being a member of the Hornets at first overall. I don't see any way we get him potentially, but it would be interesting still too. If we do go look at the other centers, the next best option might be Benjamin Gooden based on overall. Potentially, Benjamin Gooden is, let's see what his stuff is looking like. DeAndre Ayton / Bill Cartwright. So that's a starter bench. He's probably a guy that would fall in the second round, so doesn't have a huge ceiling. Is there anybody that might have a good ceiling though here? All-star / bench and Lance Harvey. That's an interesting one. Hall of Fame and bench. Is he fully scouted? Yeah, he is. Actually, wait, where was he? Where was this dude? Oh, here he is. Carl Bishop. He's actually supposed to go first round, maybe. I don't know if he's worth the risk. But he's a good defender, not the best offensively right now. Let's see what else. We got your all-star bench again. Starter bench. No ceiling, no floor. Yeah, it doesn't look like the best drafts for centers other than Chip Parker, who has Hall of Fame potential and all-star floor. So that's an interesting one. Like I said, if he somehow fell to us at 5, I'd absolutely take him, but I really, really doubt it. But yeah, he looks like he's going to be a really, really good player, which is unfortunate that we won't be able to get him. Shooting guards, though, is another area of need potentially. The best, though, is only maybe a 73, but an all-NBA / bench, starter bench. Hall of Fame bench and Anthony Lowry. 22 years old. Good defense. His offense still needs work, though. Some all-NBAs as well. Bobby C. Battle. Greg D. Taylor. Doesn't really look like the strongest draft class on paper, if I'm being honest. But if we're looking at good players outside of Chip Parker, technically, if we sort on SN rank, right now Sean Reed is potentially the best option, but he is a point guard, but he also, no, he can't play shooting guard. No, he only can play point guard. God damn it, man. Chuck Hunt's the best shooting guard, though, him and Anthony Lowry early on, so one of these guys are probably who I'd be leaning towards, I guess, based on that, just to give ourselves a shooting guard. And technically, based on potential, it would probably be Lowry. But I don't know for sure if we'll get him at our spot. But yeah, I think Lowry's got to be maybe one of those guys we look into based on that. So yeah, let's just add a bunch of people anyways to this pre-draft workout. And then I guess we'll just compare them as well. So let's do that. So in terms of the sprint, Sean Reed is the best as the point guard. Lane agility, it's once again Sean Reed. Vertical is Lowry and Sean Reed. Chip Parker doesn't have that crazy of a vertical, which is kind of interesting. Like, I'm surprised that these point guards have better. Benching is going to be Chip Parker, so Chip Parker's really strong, not surprised. Standing 15-foot jump. Brian Hickson is the best of these guys as a point guard / shooting guard as well, all-star / bench potential. Moving 15-foot jump is going to be Lawrence Booth and Brian Hickson. Standing is going to be Chip Parker, not really a surprise. Moving is going to be Chip Parker. Damn, Chip Parker might be actually a good three-point shooter for a big man. Standing NBA three-pointer is going to be Greg D. Taylor. and moving is going to be Taylor and Booth. Huh. If we're just looking at the shooting guards that we've selected, though, just because I don't know if we're going to be able to get a center, to be honest. Lowry is probably the best in terms of speed and vertical. If we want more of a stronger one, Bass is the best in terms of bench. And apparently he's pretty good at jump shots as well. Lowry's better at the three-pointer. I think I probably would select Lowry as that high-up selection. I don't know how good of an overall he's going to be out of the draft, but he might have the good ceiling. So, yeah, I think Lowry's probably the guy. If for some reason Parker goes early, which he probably will go early, he's supposed to go first overall. So, there we go on that. And let's go back here. Anything else we need to do? Actually, let's go to this again. We could maybe use a small forward if he falls to us too, but this guy's supposed to go later. Tough to say really what we want to go with in this draft class. Because if we look at the centers available to us, I think we could definitely get ourselves a center second round, but Chip Parker would be so friggin' nice. And yeah, so probably grab ourselves a center with the second round pick. Not sure who to go with. Maybe go with, who was it? This Hall of Fame potentially guy, Carl Bishop or something like that would be maybe interesting. And then for shooting guard, I would probably lean towards Lowry with our first early selection, if he's available to us, that is. If he's not available to us, then obviously I'm not too sure. But there's that. Anything else we need to do before we end this episode? I don't think so, right? I do not think so. So anyways, guys, that's going to do it for this episode of Anchorage Ice Tigers Draft to Glory MyNBA. So in next episode, we will take it to the draft. We'll hopefully pick up some decent selections. I don't think it's going to be as good of a draft as it's been the last few years, just because this is, I guess, technically like one of the latest selections we've had. So I'm hoping that we could get some decent steals at number 5 and then early into the second round as well. And then hopefully we obviously could start building up more of those areas that we still need to address. So let me know down below, and I'll see you guys next time.